Hi, welcome back. I want to make a few videos, and I don't know how many, but I just really feel compelled to explain certain methods of thinking that the Holy Spirit is opening my eyes to, especially in terms of the psychological warfare that is going on and is rampant in the disinformation and misinformation that is being played on all of us. And so I don't know how many videos this is going to take. I'm just going to make them as things occur to me, or as God brings them to mind. I just want to start out today sharing this meme. You may or may not have seen this. It's been floating around on social media for a while. It's no longer our job to wake up the sheep. It's time to wake up the other lions. So by reading that, whether or not you agree with it, you understand what this meme is saying. It's saying that there are people who are just never going to wake up. They're never going to get their heads out of their own butts and listen to what anyone else has to say. And these kind of people exist on both sides of the political spectrum, by the way. You can be just as much of a sheep, and you can still know that there's actually psychological warfare going on, but still be a sheep, okay? Being a sheep is being a person who's unwilling to think outside of what they've already made up their mind is true. And I don't think that that way of thinking is serving us anymore. Of course, things in the Bible are true and Christ is true. I'm talking about narratives being spun and political agendas and narratives that if you are purposely keeping certain things at arm's length and not giving them due diligence, then you are in essence a sheep. And this meme seems a little harsh, but it comes from a place of frustration because it comes from a place of love. Because there are people that are learning things and are, especially, I kind of knew there was stuff going on maybe 20 years ago, but I kind of fell out of paying attention, and I just kind of pursued my own thing. And it was when 2020 hit and the entire world was brought into this virus narrative that I really woke up to at least seeing that there is something going on. And so I did everything I could to educate myself. I still have plenty of ways to go as far as educating myself, but at least I've come to terms with the fact that I don't know everything. And it's amazing to me, people who have not even bothered to listen to tons of different things, but yet think that they know everything. They know enough about it to draw a conclusion. And I just don't think that that frame of mind is serving anyone. I don't think it served anyone ever, but it's definitely not serving anyone right now. But again, this meme comes from a place of frustration because it comes from a place of love, because there are people who are trying to educate themselves and trying to help other people see what's going on, or at least be open to the idea that there's something else going on. And those people reject that point of view. And so, the person who made this is like, you know what? People are going to believe what they want to believe. At this point, we need to empower each other and, fight against the greater evil, basically is what this meme is pointing at. Now I'm going to show you a short video from a woman who is a former Army PSYOPs officer. And I just want you to listen to what she has to say.
When I was in psychological operations in the Army in 2003, it was illegal to run psychological operations on the American people. Well, Obama changed that in 2014. Now it's perfectly legal to run PSYOP on the American people. You are living in a multifaceted psychological operations exercise on every front. I want you to ask yourself, when you're being told information like Bill Gates says there's going to be a surprise outbreak, or Fauci says there's going to be this or that, or vials of smallpox are suddenly found and you get to know about it. Why? Why do you get to know about it? Because they're setting up a narrative. What is that narrative? What does the narrative gain? Everything in these operations are designed to make you afraid so that you do what the powers that be want you to do, okay? Win the hearts and minds of the people, okay? And that's done with fear. So stop being afraid. You do not fear men. Your soul is eternal. Stop being afraid and stand up.
So you may not agree with that. You may think that she's making that up. She just wants attention. She wants people to click on her video. And that's fine if you think that. However, did you know that it was illegal to run psyops on Americans in 2003? And did you know that Obama changed that in 2014? Maybe he didn't. Maybe he did. Have you looked into it? Because if you haven't looked into it, you don't get to sound off and say that it's not true. That's my point about all of this, is that there's so many people who act like they know what's going on and have not bothered to look into anything. I have family members who still think that the narrative that we were given back in March 2020 is the case today, when we have found out so much more information, even in the mainstream. Even now, the mainstream media is willing to concede the fact that the virus, or maybe it was just the spike protein, was created in a lab. And back in 2020, that was considered crazy conspiracy theory. So my point here is, if you have not looked into any of this, how could you possibly know that people are full of crap? Because your favorite late night talk show host made fun of these people? Oh, okay, that's proof. It's not proof. That's propaganda. I'm going to talk about that more in a later video. But here's the thing. I get even Christians who will say to me, why are you paying so much attention to pop culture? That's not trusting God. You should just be reading your Bible and thinking about God. That's all you should do. And all this paying attention to what's going on, I feel like it's just unhealthy. Okay, well, that's not the case, okay? And let me show you an example, all right? Okay, and let me just also qualify by saying I read my Bible every day. So please, you don't need to worry about my relationship with God. I'm not worried about anything. Just like that woman said in the video, I'm not afraid. I'm not afraid of anything man can do to me. My flesh is weak, but my spirit knows that there's nothing that man can do to me that is going to change my relationship with God. Read Romans 8, okay? Nothing can take that away from me. But here's the problem with the philosophy that all we need to do is just read our Bible and trust God. That's all we need to do, nothing else. This is the problem, and I want you to look at this verse. Thy word is a lamp unto my feet and a light unto my path. If you are a Christian who thinks that it's enough to just read the Bible and think happy thoughts about God all day, guess what you're doing? You're just looking at the lamp and the light. But that's only part of what this verse is saying. The word is not just a lamp. It's a lamp unto my feet. Okay? It's not good enough to just hold up a lamp. I have to use the lamp to look at myself and where I stand and evaluate my own heart. Furthermore, the Bible is not just a light that you just hold up and walk around randomly. Oh, God will lead my directions. I'll just hold this lamp. That's my only part. No. We have to hold up the light unto our path. Our path is our environment. Our path are all the various narratives, all the various agendas, all the various psyops. It's our environment. It's the things around us, okay? And then especially think too about the verse about how broad is the way to destruction and narrow is the way to truth, to God, to heaven, right? How do you know that unless you're looking at the path as well? You have to hold up the light to your own self and your own motivations, and you have to hold up hold up the light to where you're going. You have to look at where you're going as well. Okay? Now, this is just one verse, and it's really easy to take one verse out of context. I realize that, but I'm trying to keep these videos short. I'm going to show you plenty of other verses later on, but I just want you to think about that. Think about how it's not enough to just look at the Bible, because kind of what you're doing is creating a whole idol situation with the Bible. You're not using it for anything, you're just reading it. You're supposed to read the Bible in order to apply it, but you don't know how to apply it if you're not paying attention to where you're going. One last little thought I want you to leave you with is this concept of lamp and light. I want you to think, and of course this verse is talking about spiritually, a spiritual lamp and a spiritual light. But let's just think about light in general, okay? Don't even think about sound. Don't even think about the other senses. There's 5 senses. Don't even think about the other of the 5 senses. Don't even think about the spiritual realm or the astral realm or any of these other realms. All I want you to think about is physical light. Okay, scientists have discovered that light exists on something that we call the electromagnetic spectrum. And this is just a representation of what that might be, okay? Because we're limited by what we can actually see. But I want you to just kind of look at that top bar where it says cosmic rays, gamma rays, microwaves, broadcast band. Okay, so this is the electromagnetic spectrum. It's incredibly long. And some of this is theoretical because we can't actually see it, and that is what I want you to notice. Look at that little tiny, tiny fraction of the electromagnetic spectrum with the color. That's what your eyes can see, okay, physically. That's what your physical eyes can see. And this entire spectrum, this is just light, okay? So look at that and tell me again how what you can even see with your eyes is all that's going on. Because I certainly cannot look at that and say, oh yeah, I know exactly what's going on around me. No, I know just over 300 nanometers of the electromagnetic spectrum is the color spectrum, and that's what we can see. So how can you say that you know everything? Okay, even if you were to see everything going on the planet, you're still only looking within 300 nanometers. Okay, this is why Christianity, a relationship with God, is based on humility, is to realize that God knows exactly what's going on, but there's no way that you could possibly fathom what all is going on. And that is why your trust has to be in God. However, you cannot just follow blindly. You have to also use the light for your path. You have to know what's going on so that you can make the best decision for you and for other people around you. And what happens is too, when you cut off knowledge, not even listening to it, when someone's trying to tell you something and you automatically attribute their motives to being evil instead of just listening to them, I just want you to see that the state of being a sheep is not a state of ignorance, it's a state of arrogance. And that's a really dangerous place to be. So, thank you for watching, and I will see you next time.